Alright, we're playing back to Intelligent Design. I'm your host, Dan Felder, and today we are continuing right where we left off in Magicka. Let's walk outside and brave the first real level. So what's interesting about this, again, we have some rewards. Let's talk to this guy and see what he's doing.
Door. Did you guess if I'm out?
I guess I'll never find out. Okay, what they do here is they create curiosity. This guy could have said, go through that door to get a treasure. It's not, but that's not what they did. They make you wonder, they create curiosity in the player, and they let the player try to figure it out. Now, we've broken through wood before. We've done the tutorial. No problem. Now there's a new staff. Staff of the White Wizard. Press tab to view your current equipment. The White Wizard was once a different color, but returned to Midgard once again and to aid his fellow wizards in their quest, then subsequently died. That's cool. We're not going to use that at all. I'm just going to get the normal staffs again. The reason why is because staves and items minorly change your gameplay, and messing with them at all, unless you with very specific ones, can actually cause problems. So we've got this big staircase, cool, makes you feel like you're moving somewhere else, and now we got practice dummies. Why do we have practice dummies here? Because the thing is, we need to test out spells. Players now are going to want to experiment with all their spells. One of the most interesting things about the game is that, because your items are almost irrelevant, the weapon, there's a few things you can do with the items, but mostly the items are irrelevant and all your power comes from these spells and how you combine them. Like, there's a big difference between somebody who only knows how to do this and someone who knows how to do this. That's a pretty effective heal. If I just try to heal myself, I'll set myself on fire. Actually, I don't want to set myself on fire. It gets annoying. Alright, if I try to heal myself, here's how it works. Not very big heal. Now, if I do this, very big heal. So as you can see, the game gives you a chance to experiment. And here's like the next hour of people trying to do stuff, and they say, can I do this? Can I do that? And one of the most amazing... Look, beam spells can be crossed to increase their power. Be warned, though, the rule of opposites still applies. Don't cross the streams. It's a joke. And if you do cross the streams with opposite elements, horrible things happen, and you get an achievement that says you crossed the streams or something like that. The main point, though, is that they build their system, and we're going to talk about their system in a way that makes sense. Now, one of the cool things you can do with this game is they built it in a way that is based entirely around the way players think in terms of larger concepts. It's not asking you to say, in our game, here's what Earth does, figure out how our game works, and then use in-game logic to figure it out. No, what you can do, and what I've done, is I've thought to myself, can I enchant my sword? Can I enchant my sword? How would I do that? Well, I guess I would put elements in my bar. Some lightning in there. Now what I do? How do I swing my sword? How do I activate my sword? Well, I hold shift and I click, and it works. That's what happened to me in the game. Is that I was trying to figure out how to could I enchant my sword, and I just did that. And I was like, oh my god, I could enchant my sword! And look, it looks so cool! And now I can do that. It lets you basically queue up a spell onto your sword. It's not really useful, but it's pretty cool. Alright. Now the question is, one thing I often ask people is, again, people eventually wait, and it occurs to them as well, but one thing that's fun with this game is to ask people, how would you create armor? Like, okay, well, I mean, I've got the shield element, and I know if I cast things on myself, alright, there's like a shield, I can put a shield on myself, that's cool, but it's going away. How would I create armor? Well, I guess that would be a shield made of rock, and it works. It freaking works. That is so cool. And also notice that it's not disappearing like that other shield. Rock gives it a sense of permanence, which makes sense. This is really, really, really great. Now, and the question is, can I do other shields? Well, let's shield plus earth plus maybe water? Now I've got an earth shield with a water immunity. Let's try. And now I have spikes. I have a spike armor shield with a wall of ice. How cool is that? So the game is really based around players' concepts, and they try to make it as simple as possible and work within established rules. I wonder, can I give myself armor? And the answer is yes. Can I enchant my sword? The answer is yes. Now, we're going to move ahead.
And over the trooper can travel the
Star Wars reference. Alright, we're skipping that.
Ah, Jeanette.
Okay. Now, I'm actually moving really slowly because of this armor, so I'm going to take it off because I'm not under any immediate threat. Now, here's a clever thing. They put a book up here. We've seen those books. We know those are good. We want that book. How do we get it? Well, clearly we can't get it from over here, so the bridge extends over there. Let's go get that thing. Unfortunately, there's water. How do we cross water? Well, it's pretty simple. We just do this a lot. And one of the cool things is actually the obvious way to cross water is to try to, like, raise the path in front of you, but it's very easy to fall off. So, often the most obvious way to do something works, but it's not as effective as some other way. So again, that is way more effective way to cross water, and they make that intentionally. Like that, they could have made the AoE a lot smaller if they wanted to. Like, hey, you know, focused AoE in one direction, focused stream in one direction extends further. But this is way better because they actually encourage you to experiment with different ways of doing the same thing. So they keep adding layers to their game of, oh, you think that heal casting on yourself is the best way to heal? No, it's not. What you want to do is use QWER and cast it all around you, and that heals you for 5,000, almost 6,000. So the obvious way to do something is almost always the worst. The obvious way to do something is almost always the worst. It does work, and that is how they encourage further experimentation. This is very different than most games. Most games want the obvious way to do something to be the actually best way to do something. That is good usability, right? But this game is about discovery. This game is about learning the layers of the mechanics and the secrets of things as they go on. So they want the most obvious way of doing something to be the least obvious, to be the least effective. That it can get you through the game, but it's nowhere near as good. All right, so we go over here, examine. Okay. You heard a scream earlier.
Aha.
All right, and so we get a book. Now what's interesting here is that they don't want to give us that book right away, and there's no way to actually get up the top. Ooh, grease, what does this do? Bum, bum, bum. That's kind of cool. Wait, one of the most fun things to do is, with these sort of grease spells in D&D, is to set it on fire. And it works. Of course it works. All right, so let's get back to the normal things. Great. So what's interesting is we want to get that book up there. And so we came here, and really what they're trying to do is foreshadow something that happens like 6 levels from now. And that's when we get that book. But what they wanted to do was to get us over here, make us think about the water, make us think that maybe there's something clever to the side. They're trying to reward experimentation. All these things are fantastic. And so, but what they didn't want, and so what the thing is, it would have been really, really risky to give us access to this sort of, to give us a prompt that says, hey, go here to get magic, and then not give us the magic. So instead, as they said, okay, you don't get that book, because we want you to remember that book for later, but we'll give you some other book. So they make sure that our exploration was still rewarded, even though they didn't give us the thing that they originally wanted. Very easy to just say, hey, go over there to see about that book. Huh, doesn't work. I guess we'll come and get it later. But that's not what they did. That's not what they did. What they did was they made sure that the exploration was still rewarded. Very important. They want to make sure the exploration experimentation is always rewarded. They want to reinforce that on every single level.
Hey!
Oh boy. Hooray, we have Navi. She gives us very useful hints, like you should try casting spells on enemies. Alright, now we're into the next section. This is where they're going to establish the core elements of the gameplay. And they're going to subvert us again. Again, they want us to think investigation is interesting, and the rules of normal games do not really apply. I'll show you what I mean right now. Exclamation point! Universal language for quest. Alright, let's get...
Ne beta visi. De rappa kellarati. Vada kappa lesumynt.
Okay, standard quest. Rats in the cellar. Huh. So, now we have to go kill these goblins. Interesting. I like that spell. That spell is actually so powerful that the first time I figured out how to use it, it really destroyed me. it was so powerful that just casting it would usually kill me. I had to figure out how to cast it on my, oh hooray.
Trail out, spirit. Never know when it cannot fin.
Oh, this thing gets annoying. Basically, I learned that I had to cast it on my sword in order to have it fire in directly in front of me so that I could run away and not get killed by it. Alright, so we've destroyed these things. Let's talk to this woman again.
Spanken, killarati nepa da blodjo. De kappa mint, bada ryggsäck kompetetris. Oh well.
There does not seem to be a proper inventory in this game. Alright, so... But she still has a question mark. That still means talk to her, right?
Nah, je bara dör sprinkle uta feberlappa.
Now, if only I get rid of this exclamation mark that's been following me around lately. So this thing is actually, following her around. That's interesting. Alright, we can't blow it away. Let's move on. Alright, I'm gonna take the armor off again just so I can move faster. Actually, I'll start using haste.
Hej, lyssna! Jag tror att det här blir någon.
Alright, so what they do is they show us the new enemies, that spiders can ambush us from nowhere, and spiders will kill goblins. Alright, I'm putting on some armor. Cool. I'm going to soak all these spiders, and now I'm going to freeze them. What's cool thing about Frost is that it actually lags enemies. Alright. And, or you can put them on water and you will freeze them solid, which is really, really clever. So you basically put cold in enemies and like, oh, it's chilling them, but can I freeze them? And you thought, huh, well, clearly you can interact with water in some way, with lightning.
Seriously? Need to cast a rock around?
So maybe you can interact with cold.
Ge Björn, modig Karl. Vi spetsar alla bitar fra... Vi Baldur's Bolle! Skogsjäder!
So it wants us to use fire. Trolls regenerate, you can use fire to prevent this. Fire is not very effective though, and often it will kill a lot of these guys with us. So again, the obvious answer is not the one to use. This is trying to teach us already that we should think about which elements we use against certain enemies. And fire is the most intuitive one for new guys. So again, you can see that they're basically going to kill the troll on their own, but I can't allow that. So I'm going to freeze the troll. And try to... And so now I'm freezing him solid, and he just explodes.
Hjälpen, tack. Vi ser makten I manken. Je bipel havinder, her
Alright, yeah. Go, level. Alright. So, again, the obvious way to win the... to beat the guy, which is the, Alright. Which is the, using fire, is not actually the best. In fact, you can do really crazy things to kill him super fast if you're trying hard. Yeah, that's a good showing you the layering effects again. This story is actually really fun and enjoyable.
And so our young and bold wizard set
Guiding them through the
forth
perils
on
of the dashingly handsome Vlad, who's by no means a vampire. But we're not going to pay attention to that because I want to show you all the clever gameplay and level design. All right, examine this. Basically, Vlad shows up and asks us to do stuff, and he's one guy we cannot kill. It's actually really fun for testing out stuff. We are gonna soak him now. And I'm gonna show you the thing about see if we can actually freeze him solid.
Lyssna! Om ni dörren så kan en ge
And now we can electrocute him. Alright, so again, is that you can see that, of course, water and lightning interacts in interesting ways. So put water on him, he'll take more damage from the lightning. Lightning. Water plus lightning. Again, it lets you, the rules of the world are consistent and solid. The reason that spell works so well is because of the way the elements work. I'm going to break down how this actually happens and how I invented this spell. I'm sure other people discovered it. I'm not saying I'm the first one to come up with it in the world. It's 100% I'm sure not true. I'm just saying how I came up with it myself. I hate this fucking fairy. Alright, so here's how this works. The first... Okay, the camera's really annoying me right now. I'm going to take these guys out first. Alright. Wow. Okay, the problem, by the way, is I'm on an AZERTY keyboard. So, the, buttons are a little weird. I'm not quite used to them. Alright, so, Dinity. Alright. So, here's what's going on. Now, the way I discovered the spell is very simple. Now, the first thing I noticed was I was trying to figure out how to create a wall. That's not a very efficient wall. I thought, shield plus rock. That creates a bunch of these things. That's cool. Can I create volcanoes? I can. Okay, can I create frost volcanoes? What other kind of volcanoes are there? Yeah, you can. But lightning, nope. Lightning rock cancel out. Water? Okay, it's gonna make people wet. Not that interesting. How about water, frost, and... Oh, look at that! Did you see that? When I put a water in and then a cold, it creates some new element.
Hej, lyssna! Om ni dör den, så kan ni ge Hackney.
I should die just to get rid of her, because I'm not going to die again. So... What happens to that? Whoa! There's like ice, and it shatters, and it's cool. That's really cool. So, how can I take advantage of this? And so I started noticing that, what about an ice wall? Well, those sort of explode, and I know that arcane things explode, because I can buy shields and arcane, it creates these bombs. And arcane's really explosive when you create these bombs. So what happens if I combine the explosion of the ice and the bomb? Okay, that's kind of interesting. Let's try that. That's really explosive! Alright. What happens if I combine it with, like, lightning? Because lightning is even more absurd. Whoops, did not do that in the right order. You have to get the thing is you have to get the ice in before the lightning. Because what happens is if you put the water into lightning, they cancel out.
Lyssna!
But...
Trilla ut spöet. Ni var nog vad ni kan finna.
Oh, Navi. Okay, so the thing is, if you put water and lightning in, it vanishes. But one of the cool layers of the game is that you can put water and cold in to make ice, and ice and lightning are totally fine together. But it creates this shotgun thing that's not very effective. So, but however, if you combine that with the arcane, you can get ice, arcane, lightning, and shield, and that's the spell. And that's what I keep using. Alright. I'm gonna go run over here. The reason I keep casting haste on myself, just move normal speed, is because the more earth you have in your basic movement, the harder it is. Rain! That sounds dumb, right? What's this? Well, that's another element I don't recognize. I don't have that here. Well, here's the thing. Fire and water creates steam. So, water, 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 fire creates rain. Okay, dry myself using fire. Now I'm immediately wet again. And I can't even use lightning anymore because it's going to keep hurting me.
Hej, lyssna! Om ni dör den, så kan ni ge Hackney.
I'm actually just going to kill myself because I cannot stand this interruptions anymore. The first time I die, she'll stop bothering us. Alright, come on guys. I'm just going to kill myself. No problem. Alright, now she's gone. So, rain is the most useless element ever, right? Because the thing is, it lets you make everybody in the entire level wet. That's kind of cool if you can use lightning on them, but you can't use lightning on them because you're going to be wet too. But, as I figured out something very, very late in the game, like in my third playthrough, you can use water armor, and then... Whoops. You are immune to being wet, which allows you to use fire and lightning safely. You can use lightning and you can use cold to freeze enemies while they're all being wet. Rain's one of the most powerful things in the game.
Hey!
So I'm back because of the checkpoint. Hooray! Alright. So, what's interesting is that the rain event they give you really early looks useless, and all the normal ways you try to take advantage of it are terrible. So, what you do instead is you figure out how to use it, and it becomes the most amazing thing ever. Now, they want me to use fire to kill these guys because there's bomb things that you can use to interact with. I'll show you a little bit of that. You see I can set those bomb guys on fire, and then it sets all the other guys on fire. There's a lot of fire going on, so I'll put something on myself. Now I'm going to put some water on myself, use rain, and now I can use cold without freezing myself, and I can use lightning without electrocuting myself. Oh wow, but my water armor is gone. That's bad. Alright, so I've got that again. I'm gonna reset the rain. Cool. And now I'm going to electrocute them all. And because they're wet, I'm doing extra damage. In fact, let's reset the water armor before I get wet. And let's throw some ice bombs at them. These are ice comets, Halley's comets. And now I can just freeze lock them forever, because the more cold just keeps them down. But that's boring. So what I'm mostly doing here is just sort of having fun. I'm just showing you all the cool stuff this game lets you do. Because my goal here is the level design is almost a punching bag at this point. The cool thing about this one... Whoops. The cool thing about this particular punching bag is that that's supposed to show you that elements, again, are good at certain things. And their entire goal early on is to make you really happy about using fire, which is one of the most intuitive, normal things that these starting levels have you do. Players think fire's dangerous, fire's cool, let's use fire. It tries to show you that using the elements against certain enemies is more effective. Alright, this was the second episode, so we're gonna pause for here, and I'll do a third one next, and then we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.